Clinical researches such as on mindfulness and compassion and their effects on the problems like attention deficiency would be useful to demonstrate that the mental problems can be solved with the training of mind. The secular ethics should be introduced through a secular and universal language. It should be taught not like a regular course, but with intensive interaction with the teachers, so that the transformative measures could be properly communicated and the value could be inculcated. And as we have seen with the author's presentation, that he, teaching students, young students, and even the adult students how to do meditation, and through that kind of procedures, attaining some kind of, some kind of results in their life. As a result of the course, students should learn regulation of emotions, at least to some extent in the beginning, and gradually bring some transformation in their mental state, which will certainly bring changes in their social behavior and eventually become a better person. His Holiness's books on secular ethics are widely read across the world. Once the education of secular ethics is incorporated into the curriculum of schools, colleges, and universities, with the properly designed syllabus and the good teachers, we will get to see the results. And I think this is one of the visions of His Holiness. The Delhi University, which is one of the leading universities in the capital of India, is going to start a course on secular ethics under the guidance of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. His Holiness is a visiting professor of Delhi University and has been giving lectures in that university for the last more than a couple of years. And with the influence of His Holiness's idea, the Delhi University has come up with this project of introducing secular ethics in their curriculum. And for the last 2 years, we have been working because Delhi University is very sensitive in terms of not bringing any kind of religious element into that, although they want very much to have to incorporate the ideas of His Holiness into this. So we have been trying to design a course which could be acceptable to all the students and scholars from all, even the non-religious and non-believers of the religious. Recently, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and the author and Tanya Singer and Richard Davidson were also there in making some presentations on these subjects, and the Delhi University, the officials, the leaders, including the Vice Chancellor, were very much devoted to introduce this course in Delhi University. And once this course is launched, it will benefit 6,000 students every year, and this is a large scale. And also, being one of the primary and leading university in the world, this will have a lots of implication to the rest of the universities and educational institutions in India. So after this, I would like to present you the Buddhist approach to ethics, so that Buddhism and Buddhist concept and philosophy and practice of practice has a lots of things to offer to the education of secular ethics. So I wanted to share with you the Buddhist approach to ethics. The concept of ethics in the West is primarily related to behavior. According to Buddhism, ethics, the Shila in Sanskrit and Sultam in Tibetan, covers a wide area: the ethics of mind, ethics of speech, and ethics of body. And in terms of the wide range, spectrum of the ethics, and also in terms of the subtleties, in Buddhism, it has a much more and deeper connotation and deeper meaning, deeper content. In Buddhism, the perfection of moral, with this you can see how the deep and high level of...
I want to add one thing. Sudim sa 수단의 송지 현유 시대 제발에 도봐. 가다 현유 강대용도.
So in fact, at its core, at the most fundamental level, ethics in Buddhism or morality in Buddhism is defined in terms of restraining from any direct or indirect causes of harming others. So right from the beginning, at the very core of the understanding of ethics, a concern for others' suffering is there, built into this.
And in Buddhism, the perfection of moral ethics is attained at a very high level of spiritual path. That is, only after having the direct perception of ultimate reality. In the subsequent process of gradual paths, the remaining afflictive mental elements are eliminated, and thereafter the subtlest obscurations as well are eliminated, after which the complete enlightenment, the Buddhahood, is attained. So from here you can understand that the level of ethics in Buddhism, the Buddhist approach to the modes of encountering the afflictive emotions. There are levels of different levels, and at which you can encounter the afflictive emotions. First of all, the avoiding object is regarded to be the first and the easiest way to encounter afflictive emotions, because many of the masters have said that for beginners and for common people, and particularly to the beginners, it is much easier to avoid the object rather than developing antidotal factors. And in the second level, the application.
Again, I must say, this is the initial stage.
Initial stage, yes.
This one.
Beginning stage.
Those
So
it's important to emphasize that the first approach is really at the initial stage, because otherwise it will give the suggestion that all the Buddhist people who are concerned in development of ethics are avoiding everything.
I think the very sort of the essence of the moral
practice.
ethics. If you can serve, help other, you should do that. If you cannot, at least restrain harming. So if you completely avoid, then no possibility to serve.
Serve others. It's only saying
At
that
the second level, then application of regulation of emotions through training and practice. So there are a number of ways how to regulate your emotions, and through the training of practices. So for example, when anger, somebody triggers anger, then there are certain ways to think and to number of reasonings that how I should not have anger at such a given situation and things like that, so that we can avoid triggering anger. So there are a number of ways for this kind of application of the methods. And then after that, the third level is the subjugation through non-transcendental path. That is, with the training in mindfulness and single-pointed concentration, and with the subsequent paths, practice of paths, one reaches to a level when there is no kind of one would feel that there is no more afflictive emotions in oneself, but it is not eliminated. Still, they are subsided, but they do exist and they are not eliminated. But with the help of the non-transcendental path, they are subdued to a great extent. And the last stage is the elimination of the negative emotions and negative mental factors with the transcendental path. So once one has had a direct perception of the ultimate reality, thereafter these afflictive mental forces start getting eliminated with the gradual processes of a path.
The secular ethics
So in the context of secular ethics, just to correlate, His Holiness would say it is up to the second level. of those different.
그 youth training 월데 이내 3년 안에 거다 간다 최부 개종 시에 돈에 달리게 돼.
So because although
Right.
you are not avoiding the conditions that would give rise to afflictions, in fact you are encountering the conditions, but you deal with them by readjusting your attitudes, bringing in understanding to bear on your relationship.
Okay. Now, yes.
Transformative stages of reduction, of elimination of reduction and elimination of destructive mental forces, cultivation of constructive mental forces, and the cultivation of understanding of reality. So there are 3 stages in our training that understanding derived from hearing. For example, in case of the cultivation of compassion, and first of all, understanding should be derived from hearing, from study, and a thorough study of compassion. And after that, the reflection or contemplation, one should reflect on the results, on the causes and conditions and the nature of compassion, and under which circumstance compassion can be cultivated. Taking into account with all these things, through contemplation, when one reaches to a conviction and develops a conviction that the cultivation of compassion, and the compassion is certainly very beneficial, then one turns into the 3rd stage of meditative practice, that at which stage that person meditates, and then with the familiarity with the developing familiarity with the compassion, then within the course of time, then he develops the compassion, and that kind of compassion which is made with effort, and again with a further effort, then at a level of time, then he reaches to a stage where the compassion becomes a spontaneous and effortless kind of thing. When any circumstance arises, then he has a spontaneous reaction or spontaneous compassion towards that object. In the similar manner, the cultivation of understanding of reality, again there are 3 stages, that one first studies the thorough study of the reality, and then after that he reflects or contemplates on the nature of reality with this, scores of reasonings and things like that. And after reaching to conviction, then he enters into the meditative practice. And when one enters into the meditative practice after a long time, then attains the and realizes or develops a proper and perfect understanding of the reality. So these are the stages.
absolutely dirishlam dojo. Meditative kum jungsati. Dirishlam dojo. Da tujunche and tendra yang samdani yijide, right? Any shugo did those total communism and shugo part of your life. Dirishin dojo.
So one thing that could help understand the process here is initially you hear about it, you learn about it, and then as a result of thinking about, reflecting upon it, and then processing it, then you at one point it can become part of you, part of your nature. So that's when you have arrived.
Part of
at
your
this-
life.
Part of your life.
Yeah.
And so that's when
Oh.
you have arrived at this
That's
third
the,
stage.
that I think we can say the 3rd level. Then no need effort or that moment, right? Some awareness, no. But automatically, some sort of occasion comes. And because, you see, you get used through training, familiarize, so then automatically come.
So in the case of, in the view of interdependence or dependent arising or view of emptiness, at this stage, at the final stage, then the view of interdependentness or view of emptiness becomes your own personal view rather than becoming that as a kind of external reality. It becomes your personal view. Buddhist masters have developed extensive methods of training the mind, providing detailed account of a variety of procedures to deal with the diverse mental states, and thus leading it gradually to a to advanced cognitive stages culminating perfected awareness or the Buddhahood. Importance of understanding reality. Although there are measures by means of which one can reduce the negative mental elements and subdue them, the realization of reality is mandatory for their elimination. For these reasons, the Buddha and the subsequent Buddhist masters have given extensive philosophical teachings concerning the reality of phenomena. The core of all the Buddhist views about the nature of reality, despite their variety, is the principle of dependent origination. Due to these reasons, in Buddhism, philosophy is not simply for the sake of knowledge, but is practically related to the elimination of suffering. Many masters have emphatically stated that if the study of reality is confined to mere knowledge, the very purpose of the philosophy is undermined. Therefore, in Buddhism, philosophy and spirituality are inextricably intertwined. So, importance of teachings on impermanence as a reality. Although impermanence is not the ultimate reality of an ultimate reality, it is an extremely important reality. This is one of the four seals of Buddhist philosophy. And the Buddha gave a lot of importance on the teachings of the lots of importance on the nature of the impermanence of the composite phenomena. And when Buddha gave the teachings on impermanence, all of the non-Buddhist Indian philosophical schools had a very serious reactions against this view, saying that this totally contradicts with the nature, because when we see the mountains and houses and cups and everything, then we see them. Yesterday we have seen them, and today we are seeing them. So how can these be momentary and flux? So it contradicts our experience, and therefore the Buddhists were charged of being contradictory to the real experience, and contradictory, and it is said in Sanskrit, the kyanabhangurvad, the proponents of momentariness, which is totally contradicting the reality. So, but now I think that there is no such kind of criticisms, because it is already very well proven by the scientists that even a second can be divided into millions of fractions. So I think it is very much corroborated by the scientists' findings. And this is an intellectual understanding of impermanence is not sufficient, but it has to be internalized. The understanding, even though we understand through machines and through intellectual study, understand the impermanence and the flux of the composite phenomena, but if we don't internalize it, or if the view of impermanence doesn't become our own personal view, then there is no benefit of the understanding of impermanence. Our view of seeing the composite things as permanent needs to be replaced by the view of impermanence. The cultivation of view of impermanence has immense impact on our life, because the person, even in Buddhism, even they technically do not understand the million fractions of as part of a second, but when they understand that every composite phenomena is a flux and changes every moment, and there is no such a fraction of time during which anything stands still. So with that kind of cultivation of the notion of impermanence, the person has develops a certain deep kind of it has a deep impact on their life in terms of looking on the objects, and in terms of when they lose some of their near and dear beings, and when they lose some of their properties or belongings or something like that. So it doesn't have that kind of a negative impact on their life. So there are so many different kinds of impact on their life due to the understanding of impermanence. In the similar manner, the view of dependence and emptiness is extremely important, as it destroys our view of seeing internal and external phenomena as inherently existent, on the ground of which all the afflictive mental forces arise. Without the cultivation of the view of emptiness, The negative mental elements can only be subdued but can never be eliminated or eradicated, as their foundation remains intact. According to Buddhism, every afflictive mental element arises from an inappropriate attitude towards objects. The inappropriate attitude in turn arises from a distorted view of the reality of the object, which is a fundamental ignorance about the nature of reality per se. That ignorance consists in viewing objects as substantially or inherently existent, that is, as existing independent of other phenomena. With the inappropriate attitude, the object appears to be either attractive or repulsive, which leads to the development of attachment and aversion. Buddhism suggests the possibility of high level of moral development through transformative measures, which is grounded on the perception of reality. Therefore, Buddhism can make a substantial contribution to the development of secular ethics and secular education. Scientific researches on the positive and negative emotions and on the transformative trainings would certainly be beneficial to the education of secular ethics. Thus, I am optimistic that the interaction between science and Buddhist tradition would play a significant role in the development of secular ethics, besides its wider role in raising the horizon of knowledge and thereby benefiting the people of the world through bringing peace in their mind and life. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Very good, very good, very good. Very good.
We have a little time before we break. So first, as always, I would invite Your Holiness if you have questions you would like to raise with anyone who has spoken. We have about 15 minutes, or we can go to lunch if you prefer.
I want to share my concern about secular ethics. Now we are here, except heat, otherwise comfortable, our stomach full, and quite comfortably sleep. But same time, same moment, same planet, same human being, some starvation, some killing, some, I think, 24 hours remain hopelessly. Now we are social animal. If world remain like this, I think ultimately we also is facing some problems. So each individual out of 7 billion human beings, from their own sort of, because of the selfish viewpoint, you cannot ignore isn't that fact. You have to think seriously. And particularly we Buddhists, the daily I mentioned also, you see, we always pray, all mother-centered being. It seems, you see, the mother-centered being which we really take serious concern is not on this planet, but some other planet. If we really sincerely praying for well-being of mother-centered being, firstly, mother-centered being on this planet, firstly human being, then other animals. We cannot sort of say, educate other animals, but a lot of suffering due to human behavior, human greed. No consider they have experience of pain and pleasure. So I think extreme way of exploitation, isn't it? So if we human beings, 7 billion human beings, becoming more compassionate, more sensible. I think billions, billions of trillions of other sentient beings. I think comparatively, I think less disturbances. So now, you have to think. Is it that sort of serious of a matter? That also, I think, another factor. Human population increasing. Climate, global warming also now coming. So perhaps, I think a problem will increase. So this also is becoming source of conflict, killing, fighting. And then now try to look the source of sort of hope.
Solution.
Religion, as at the beginning I mentioned, I think few thousand years people totally sort of put our hope on faith. Even I think in the 20th century, during those wartime, I think each side pray. So sometimes I jokingly telling people, I think God also will make confuse where His sort of blessing should go, this side or that side. So both sides killing each other, meantime pray to God. Isn't it difficult? So then worst thing, religion itself causing some problems. Firstly, dividing human being. If we take religions seriously, sincerely, then all major religious traditions, you see, talks love, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, self-discipline, these things. But a major portion of religious believer don't care. You see, these real is sort of message of religions. So religion corrupted. And as a matter of fact, I think as in his presentation is mentioned, is a large portion of humanity essentially non-believer. And even those people who say believer, who say Christian, who say Buddhist, who say Hindu, real life don't care about religious practice, religious message. Then education. Comparatively, I think generally speaking, I think during 20th century, I think the education highly sort of advanced everywhere. Now I think the recognition, awareness, importance of education is now universal, everywhere. Whether they can make effort or not, but people everywhere realize education, importance of education. But education really brought some good thing, including scientific knowledge. I think doubt. The 20th century, some historians say around 200 millions of people killed during the 20th century through violence, through war. So the education, I think helping such sort of tremendous sort of destructive, power of destructive, and scientists also, I think helped, not intentionally, but user of the knowledge of through scientific research, you see, utilized by wrong way. So the science also make tremendous contribution for human suffering. So mere education, I think those like September 11th sort of event, people who plan these things, I think very, very smart, I think people. Right. the dull people, who are uneducated people, you see, cannot make that kind of plan, that kind of sort of destructive work carry. Isn't it? So therefore, so then, only hope is proper education. Education, a universally, religion, no matter how wonderful one religious tradition, like Buddhism, I think maybe I'm Buddhist, so maybe a little prejudiced, right? Biased. Oh. Yes, I feel this Buddhist approach is quite sort of a realistic way of approach. But Buddhism will never be universal religion. Clear. So now only thing is, only sort of the hope, education. Now in education, I'm extremely happy. You see, 가서다 직사한다. 외던 대명의 정보.
My shining friend.
Really, you see, caring, you see, the work, educate people about sort of warm-heartedness and meditation or mindfulness, these things. I very much appreciate, and some other, the scientists also now making clear the warm-heartedness is something very, very important. So in any way, so therefore, in education field, if you put some moral ethics, as you mentioned, from kindergarten up to university level, eventually, you see, that way, I think can change human thinking. Through that way, human behavior then becoming much more positive. So now in the education field, the moral ethics, if is related with religious faith, then complications, a lot of complicated there. So there's no other choice except secular ethics. Not talking about next life, not talking about God, not talking about heaven or Buddha, like that. Simply, you see, try to educate people. I think every people, knows if you see some more holistic view, that our world, not happy world, a lot of problem. If present sort of situation, present way of thinking, way of life continues, I think within this century, I think more problems will come. Although I have not much worry. Now already, over 77, now 78, perhaps I think next one decade means 87, 88. 2 decades, 98. Then I may go. So all problems remain those younger people's hand or their shoulder. But as a human being, we have to think about coming generations. They also see human being. They also have exactly same sort of desire, same sort of feeling, right? No. Want happy life, do not want suffering, as we do. Perhaps we have some experiences. So the elder generation, it is our responsibility through our own experience. Now show some sort of the more holistic way of coming generation. Now here, I think like me, religious people, we can only, what we can do is only cooperate or support. But main thing, I feel, scientist, you not sort of your knowledge not based on faith, but through actual sort of experiment, investigation. That means you see, some of your knowledge you see, come from reality. So your explanation, I think, is easier to accept people, particularly non-believers. So therefore, in order to develop effective secular ethics, I think the scientific findings, scientists' cooperation is very, very essential. I think at the beginning, I mentioned such meetings, two purposes. One, extend our knowledge. That's one purpose. One purpose is through
Through collaboration.
through our knowledge, you see, how to make contribution for better world, better human being. So now this is the second one. Second one.
Second goal.
Oh. So therefore, now you clearly sort of make a presentation about the secular ethics, these things. So as he mentioned, this month in Delhi, as a result of a few years of sort of discussion, now Delhi University, under the leadership of this chancellor, now actually vice chancellor actually is materialized. Now secular ethics should be included.
Incorporated into the training.
So now there, I mentioned, I think you also noticed, you say, now we should set up small sort of committee or a small group of people who now actually start, who should start the curriculum entirely based on secular
approach,
and can be curriculum in the secular education field. As you noticed there, you witnessed there. So now, so for material there, I think from kindergarten up to university level. So when we talk about, just this morning, you see, I discussed with some of them, with some of them, that sort of the curriculum, that subject, see, half, I mean, I think basically any moral ethics must, now secular basis, any moral ethics must come from intelligence, knowledge, not faith. So therefore, in the curriculum, first explain as an academic subject about the, usually I call map of mind or emotion. No concept of right or wrong. Simply mention, make clear map of the emotion. Then, such emotions are very bad for our peace of mind, through that way, very bad for our health, and very bad the happy family, happy community. Make clear that. Then, now how to deal these things. Then moral ethics come. So first, as basis, just academic subject. Then through that way, some kind of conclusion. You see, since some of these sort of emotions are very harmful, some of the emotions are very helpful. So now how to deal? So sometimes I describe hygiene of emotion, hygiene of physical, hygiene of emotion. So from kindergarten, some kind of that, quite simple, right?
In simple forms.
So you have the picture, you need book those things.
So I was very impressed by that beautiful shot of children meditating.
Oh, wasn't that wonderful?
Oh,
Yes.
very nice.
Yes.
So anyway, from low level education, right? Then up to university, you see that I think they 가서 다
Subject.
that's
Expand.
at the university level. Oh, we can mention the other day. You see the 가서 from the presentation. You see 심중 rigor 몽실수.
He gave a list of all the mental factors and how dynamic they were.
So then, see, I think worthwhile university level subject of academic, right? Oh, there are a lot of sort of other lot of sort of vipassana. He mentioned this vipassana, the kaso inside way, inside or single pointed mind. All these you can then elaborate. So we already started. I have little jealousy. You already sort of implement these things. We here not yet implemented, including Tibetan schools not yet implemented. So wonderful. Chiranda pilot chatter.
So in a sense, you have become the pilot.
Oh, so wonderful, wonderful. So that's the kasoda my views. Our view, our view. This is not sort of out of sort of some kind of happy sort of the happy mood. Then is to find some new things. No, we are facing desperate situation. There's no other choice. Making more money can solve this? No. More scientific technology can solve this? Some extent, but not complete. Ultimately, problems start from here. Negative emotion with the help of intelligence. The immense destructions, immense suffering, they happen. So here, we already education dealing with this. Now here, religion, difficult. Some extent, or even religion, once we develop education, through education, awareness, these secular ethics, then religion become kasoda.
More grounded. More grounded.
Oh, then people, some people, you see this, once you see sort of real enthusiasm or realization about the importance of these moral ethics, then religion, all major religions, you see, talking that use different philosophical views. So then different religious tradition also becoming more stronger. This is my feeling. So therefore, in my book, The Ethics Beyond Religion, few occasions I mentioned, this is not my kaza.
Choice. The title was not by His Holiness.
I think some extent, today will have the responsibility, I think. So when I first saw that, I felt, you see, some people might get the sort of impression the subject which I mentioned is something more sacred than religion. No. Actually, you see, the subject which I'm presenting is the basis of all major religious tradition.
Right.
But itself not based on religion. So beyond. Right. Religion sometimes you see makes some
Boundary.
kind of boundary. Now this is something universal. So from that sense, beyond. Clear. So like that. So our monks here also, and also students, we are part of 7 billion human beings. And if not 24 hours, but at least, you see, in daily, think these things. I often say, I almost listen BBC every time. Some kind of sad news always happen. If we accept that's now nature, then we are not a human being. Investigate what's the causes and what's the remedy. That's human beings sort of the responsibility. Right. Animal, whether you see, whether become something like threat their life. They simply accept that. We human beings, try to investigate, can avoid or not, isn't it? Like that. So that's all. Thank you.
Your Holiness, thank you.